We've never truly known peace. At least, not after what happened to us. I can only recall fragments from that night. There was nothing but blood around me. Around us. I only remember that I couldn't stand due to the wounds I suffered. My life was simple before all this, even though I was lonely. I felt fine on my own, as solitude provided everything I needed at that time. Reading and nighttime walks were my passions. I suppose that's the real reason things changed so much. Indifference towards myself, lack of confidence, everything related to my shortcomings. All these made me ignore the dangers I exposed myself to. My parents were ignorant of teenage issues, making it even easier for me to abandon the world I struggled to fit in. Alexander, my mentor, was ultimately the key to my escape from the imaginary prison I found myself in. It's hard to explain what made me follow him with such trust, considering he was a stranger to me at that moment. I still believe that his intervention to save me wasn't the real reason I quickly gained confidence in him. I think at that time I was guided by things I didn't understand, things I was completely ignorant of. If circumstances were different, there would have probably been more reluctance to interact with the man who transported me overnight to another continent. Fortunately, I had the strength to follow my instincts and stay with him from the first moments we met. I had the courage to let myself be carried away by the reality that seemed to be torn from fiction. This is my story, our story, of all those who have been and will be part of our group. For better or worse, now I know I have never been and will never be alone. And that is true even for my brothers and sisters. Nothing will ever be the same. Now that I understand, now that I am who I was meant to be.
I watched her carefully for months. She was innocent in her thoughts, which is why things got out of control so easily. I knew she was being followed by the other group. During the day, I didn't bother following her too much since she had a well-defined routine. She went to high school and returned home using the same constantly populated street. The problem arose at night when she took the strangest routes and had no clear direction. This girl wandered with headphones always in her ears, indifferent to the dangers that might await her in the darkness. That's how we got to the night when I had to intervene. During her walk, she was attacked by a few cultists. It took just a few seconds for her to be severely injured. Like me, she was being pursued because of something hidden deep within her soul. The difference was that I was trying to save this world if I could gain her trust, while they were just seeking to use her as a sacrifice in their cruel rituals. I had no mercy when I got close enough to attack them. I used the scythe I always carried with me to sever the leg of one of them, while the other two released the girl. In a fraction of a second, the fight became easier for me. The experience of years spent fighting allowed me to engage in such confrontations without hesitation. Mercy for people who dared to mock everything pure and sacred was totally absent, given the traumas they had caused us. I could attack from a distance thanks to the chain attached to the scythe on my forearm. This meant that the other two didn't have much time to get close. One of them picked up a piece of iron from the ground and tried to run towards me, but he didn't take more than 2 steps. His screams bathed the night in an ocean of despair and pain, realizing that he had lost the arm holding his weapon. I was forced to silence him before dealing with his friend who, taking advantage of the opportunity, stabbed me in the shoulder. The pain only made me react more violently. Using that chain, I took his last breath by strangling him. I had to take a break to pull the blade out of me, after which I approached the girl lying on the cold cement. Her wrist was slashed. Typically for them, they wanted to torment her before carrying out their plan. I quickly tore some fabric from their robes and bandaged her, then took her with me, not allowing myself to take her home to her parents because of everything that was about to happen. This shock should have been enough to make the presence of that entity felt, the one that inspired so much longing and regret in me. With a little luck, If it remembered me, it could influence Cassie to join me more easily. All I had to do was be smart in my approach. No one could be prepared for what she was about to hear,